You're watching 7-Stage Success with Carl Gould. And now, here is your host, Carl Gould.
He just told me that it's, what, a month old?
It's just a baby.
It's just a little baby that I'm holding in my hands. Now, in 2002, Carl founded CMT, that's Coaching, Mentoring, and Training International, and it's the farthest-reaching business mentoring organization in the world, which reaches thousands of executives globally each year. I'll take your calls, 0891-104-207, 0891-104-207, and your SMSs as well on 34701. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Carl?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Why launch this book here? I know it's not your first visit to South Africa.
Yeah, I've come each of the last 3 years, and I absolutely love it here. I'm hooked, so I keep coming back. And why here is because we have, at this point now, about 18 independently owned and operated offices, and we have mentors and coaches and trainers from around the country that are working with SMEs and corporates, helping them turn their business around and taking their business to the next level.
So basically, this book gives you, the 7 stages of how you can take your business, whether it's a startup or an existing business, to the success that you want it to be.
That's right, and it's based on the observation of successful businesses that we've worked with over the years in various countries. So we've noticed that there are certain patterns that successful businesses go through, and we notice that if those rules get violated, they get punished, regardless of the currency or the economy or wherever they happen to be.
Yeah.
So we put it in a format that creates a nice, easy-to-follow roadmap for a business, whether, like you said, whether they're already in business or they're thinking of starting, they can just plug themselves right into that step-by-step process, and they can lead themselves right to what their ultimate goal is for their business.
What I find interesting is the statement here, and it says, I'm going to read it, the personality of a business will mirror the personality of its owner. While no one person is all things to all people, its business must be all things to all of its customers, or you risk losing them to your competition. This, in a nutshell, is the single most influential factor in the success of your business. Understanding your personality.
That's right. I mean, this show has a personality because you're the host. You know, if you have a serious owner, you have a serious business. Yeah. If you have a meticulous owner, you have a meticulous business. If you have a schizophrenic owner, you have a schizophrenic business, right? So it will tend to follow, and the leader exerts a tremendous amount of influence on any business, whether it's big or small, and that's a good thing, and that's sometimes not such a good thing. Yeah. And so an owner has to understand where their strengths lie, and we don't believe in weaknesses. We call them blind spots. Where their blind spots are, and then they should leverage out other resources that will cover those blind spots. Yeah. Where someone else has a strength where you don't.
Yeah. So if you're not the most friendly person, but you know that you are a customer-centric type of business, then hire somebody who is quite warm and cuddly, and you stay in the back office.
We don't give those people phones; they have to sign them out, and we want them back as soon as possible. Yeah. And there's somebody listening in on every conversation, right?
Absolutely. Just to make sure they're not offending anybody.
You're absolutely right. You put people where they are best suited for the role. And if they're best suited for the role, they'll enjoy it more. They'll go to work happily, and they'll do their work at a high level. A lot of the conversation you had this morning is about health and safety. And I've seen over and over again where people in the wrong jobs doing the wrong role and not given the right resources, that's when trouble happens.
Is there a personality type that really should just not go into business at all? Should you just don't even think about it?
That's a great question, because I get that all the time. And there is a lot of research on the correlation between what is the perfect personality type and that makes a successful person. And so many books are written on, well, this person's successful, let's take their personality, that must be the right one. And it's actually the opposite. There is no correlation between personality and performance, meaning any personality style can be as successful as they want if they're committed and they're coachable and they're open to new ideas. So as long as they have that, they have a passion for what it is they want to do, and they're really committed to getting the result, I have yet to see an entrepreneur fail when they've had that combination.
Wow. Yeah. 7 stages. Then can you maybe take us through a couple of them so that people have a sense of what they're going to find when they pick up this book?
Sure. I'll focus on the first 2 because just doing a little bit of research on your country versus the rest of the world, the entrepreneurial world, In most of the Western world, if you will, there are approximately one business for every 12 people.
Okay.
Here, it's 1 out of 24. And so that you can say, well, and a lot of the discussion this morning is we have to lower the regulations. We have to make it easier to start a business in this country. That could be seen as a negative. I see it as an opportunity. Now, every government should make it easier to do business in that country. No question about it.
Yeah.
We have the same problem at home. At the same time, it presents an opportunity. Because if it's holding back certain levels of competition, if you can cross that hurdle, then you have a leg up on your competition because there's not quite as much.
Yeah.
So for those that are thinking of starting a business right now, stage 1 is called the strategic planning stage. Now, I don't know anyone who doesn't have a great idea. Everyone has the next best mousetrap. I'm driving down the roads here, and I see signs for no hawking. You're one of the most entrepreneurial communities I've seen. You have to have signs up that says, entrepreneurs,
Please
stay off our
don't.
highways. I mean, you know.
That's an interesting way of looking at the no walking sign.
That's an entrepreneur. That is somebody that says, I have an idea, I have a product, or simply I found another way to survive. But that is the essence of an entrepreneur. Is they are trying to make things better for either themselves, their family, or someone else. So stage 1, I've never met anyone without a great idea, but you've got to get it out of your head and you have to get it on paper.
Yeah.
So not only for yourself, it does help yourself. They say that a problem well defined is a problem half solved. So if you can get it out of your head and onto paper, that's half the game right there. The other reason why that's important is if you get your idea down on paper, you can start showing it to other people that can help you get there.
Yeah.
Your accountant, your friends, your colleagues. You know, if I understand it right, it takes about 2,000 Rand or so to start a PDY limited, right? Around that amount. So if money's the problem, but you have a great idea, money will follow a great idea. It always does. So then the second stage is the specialty stage, where I think a lot of people would like to be at. And what that means is you own a business and you have customers. You have paying customers. But at that stage, we say that a job is born because you're doing most of the work.
Yeah.
You know, a business is really about a system. But you know what? In life, we want what we can't have. And globally around the world, unemployment is at its peak.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been this high in decades. And so people would love to be put to work right now. So stage 2 is not so bad a place to be.
No, because by then you've got something in existence.
You're doing what you love,
Yeah.
or at least you're doing a business that you could be good at and you could be successful at, and you have people that are coming back and they're paying on a regular basis. So stage 1 and stage 2 are very important because that gets it up and off the ground, and you have the opportunity now to start controlling your own destiny. So you can set the parameters under which you work.
Yeah.
You can choose who you work with, how much you charge, and everything. So you're not, based on the discussions this morning, it's all about how can someone else make the conditions better for me so I can make a living.
Yeah.
And when you have your own business, you can control
What those conditions
are.
going to look like.
So you have
Wow.
tremendous opportunity in this country. And
Let's talk a bit about coaching and mentoring, especially particularly for people who are in small businesses, because often they're always seeking the experiences of people who are maybe running multinationals who've taken small businesses and turned them into huge, either national or global companies.
Yeah.
When do you think that one should start seeking a mentor or a coach? Is it when you are completely in trouble, or is it at the moment when you really want to extend your business?
well, I can tell you that most people seek help when they're in trouble. The average entrepreneur is at, near, or in bankruptcy 3.5 times in their career. And that's usually when they seek help. Now, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
When should you get help is immediately. So before you even start a business, seek out